and say like what we're trying to get from this recording. So obviously there's three of us here. I'm Haleem, we've got Andy, we've got Max, and we really just want to do a quick do a quick recording and just obviously we're on Zoom rather than being in person because of the coronavirus, and just seeing how we're all getting on, how we're all finding the isolation, and hopefully kind of get some tips and tricks and things out of it. So yeah, guys, do you want to introduce yourselves?
Go on, Andy.
Go ahead, Max, you go first. Nah, I'm cool, mate. You go first. I'll go first. So, in short, so I'm Andy. I'm 19. I'm trying to make an impact like us three. Really trying to share our own message and spread positivity, really. That's our aim, I think. So, yeah.
I think that's what all connected us, really, isn't it? It's like,
that's it.
We've all got a similar end goal, but I suppose our step by step is probably going to be slightly different, but that's part of the joy. Obviously, someone who resonates with Haleem won't resonate with me, and likewise with Andy. Like, we're all going to have different people that resonate with us. But I'm Max. I'm 22, and obviously I'm on Instagram, on a lot of social media, hypnotherapist, NLP practitioner, stuff like that. So I help people completely rewire and reprogram their subconscious mind to impact their life and completely switch around from any old programs to new programs that can really just take you from where you are to where you want to be, essentially. That's in short.
Wow, mate. Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm 18, so yeah, I'm the youngest here. And yeah, similar sort of thing. I do a little bit on Instagram, but yeah, I'm not what did you say? Hypnotherapist?
Yeah, hypnotherapist.
That's crazy.
I'm not a hypnotherapist, but I would like to learn more about hypnotherapy and everything that you do. So I think that was what kind of all connected us. We all met on Instagram, didn't we? We literally all just met on Instagram. I met Andy on Instagram. Andy introduced me to you on Instagram. And like, I suppose when I saw your page, you've got like 11,000 followers or something, haven't you? And when I saw your page, it just like, I was really intrigued as to what you actually do. So you say you do hypnotherapy. So what does it actually like include? Like, what do you actually do? How do you actually help people like reprogram their minds and stuff?
Yeah. So we've got two minds. We've got the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Is that something you know a little bit about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know much about that, Andy, as well?
Yeah.
Cool. So obviously the conscious mind, on a conscious level, someone could say, yeah, I want to be happy. I want to be rich. I want to be healthy. But on a subconscious level, if your mind is saying, but I don't, then nothing's going to change. And you don't know what your subconscious mind is saying. The only way you can know what your subconscious mind is saying is the results you're getting. So if you are highly successful in regards to your happiness, your health, your wealth, then it shows your subconscious programming. And the good news is it can be changed. So someone who's been brought up in a very wealthy family may not know anything. And a lot of people may see them as, and I'm not belittling people that have been brought up in them families, but a lot of people may see them as stupid and be like, how the hell do you earn so much money? And it's not because always that their parents have given them money. A lot of it is their programming to wealth is, well, money's just easy for me to obtain. It's so simple for me to get. So if you've been brought up from the age of 0 to 10, predominantly up to about 7, if you've been brought up to always know that money is too hard to get, we never have enough money, you've got to work hard your whole life and you're never going to get anywhere, then that's going to play out through the rest of your life. Now, the good news is obviously you can change that. So the younger you do it, the better. So obviously you guys, you're only a couple of years younger than me, but I started when I was about 18. And if you start at a younger age, it's so much easier to reprogram your mind, because I know you guys obviously read a lot, you do a lot of personal development. I see all your videos and the motivation, stuff like that. So straight away, you're already reprogramming the mind. Hypnosis just does it so much faster and allows you to really jump from where you are to where you want to be. Just, it sort of takes out all the middle steps of every single book you need to read, because essentially, have you heard of Pareto's law, the 80-20 rule? Yeah. So yeah. So obviously 80% of the work is going to be achieved, 80% of the result is going to be achieved by 20% of the work. Now, if you can do 20% of the work with hypnosis, with hypnotherapy, and actually get to the subconscious mind, then you don't have to go out and do all of the I mean, there's still the hard graft's going to be needed. I completely agree with that. I'm still working a lot on things like that, and that's how I do it myself. And when I work with people, I don't say, I'm not a magic pill. I'm not going to change your life. You still have to get up and change your life. It's how you act after the session and how you view certain things. So say, for example, you had a really bad lack of confidence. I say you had a lack of confidence. And after the session, I would basically take you back to the first few times that you really had that lack of confidence and where it started to actually hurt you and really like dig deep in you. Because obviously we've only got two actual fears, the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. So things like anxiety, depression, they're programmed into us. So if they're programmed in, they can be unprogrammed as well. The question is, are you willing to do whatever it takes to get out of that? And yes, there may be a session where people are crying. It may be a session of people getting really angry and things like that. And sometimes we need to let off that steam in order to literally let go of it. So I can help people. I've helped people stop smoking. I've helped people with anxiety, various different things. And it just takes that cutting off from the conscious mind, which hypnosis, I'm sure you've seen in the films or maybe stage hypnotists, where people go and they go sleep and then they're like that and they completely pass out. So hypnosis isn't actually sleep. Hypnosis is just a really, really focused state of relaxation. So if you are watching your favorite film or just a really good film, after the film, are you likely to get up and be like, oh, so say it was a superhero film, you're like, oh, I want to be a superhero now. And you just have that sort of vibe after it.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So essentially, you're watching that film and you're hypnotized because your focus is your state of concentration is so focused on that film. You're literally being suggestible to what's going on. So you're going to come away from that film going, right, I want to be a superhero. I want to be this. I want to be that. If you don't stick with those suggestions and those programs, then they will just fade away. So the key is to allow those programs to stay with you constantly every single day. And that's why I use the power of meditation, gratitude, and focus concentration. And I essentially hypnotize myself 2 or 3 times a day with my meditation just to know who I want to become. And obviously, if you can see your future so vividly of who you want to become, and I'm sure you guys know about the law of attraction and manifesting and those little things, when you can really, really see that, and you wake up in the morning and you're not, first thing you're doing, you're not looking at your phone going, oh, right, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this. You're looking and you're going, right, this is who I need to become. This is what I need to do. This is how I need to walk. This is how I need to talk. This is how I need to act. This is the type of actions I need to take today. If you're defining your morning by that, then the rest of your day is going to be more aligned to your future self and who you want to become. So
it's almost the idea that I was talking to a friend about this the other day, and it was kind of like when you buy like I don't know, like a new top or like a new car or something like that, right? You suddenly like your brain is now focused on this thing, like it's focused on this new car or this new t-shirt, and then everywhere you go, you suddenly start seeing that t-shirt everywhere, or you suddenly start seeing that car everywhere, and it's like that car or that t-shirt was always there. Like it was always there. It's just now your mind is like focusing on it. You suddenly start seeing it everywhere. And it's kind of like what you're talking about is when you practice like daily gratitude and you become clear about what you want, you start seeing it everywhere. You start seeing what you want everywhere. You start seeing the opportunities.
I vaguely remember watching a video you made, Andy, a while ago about the reticular activating system, and that's what it is.
RAS.
And essentially that's it. That's exactly what it is. When you focus on something enough, eventually it will come to you. And obviously you can't just say, and I know that one of my favorite videos is where Jim Carrey's saying about how he made $10 million on Dumb and Dumber. And he's like, I didn't just think about it and then go and make a sandwich. I thought about it, took actions constantly. And there's going to be times, and part of your journey is to figure out sort of what you want to do. And the failures are always there to help you. So starting back 5-6 years ago, I started a clothing company. I was like, I just wanted to make money. I didn't know anything about what my purpose was or what I wanted to do in life. I just want to make some money. So if I didn't fail on all those, and it was about 9 or 10 different businesses, and now this is the one that, again, this business that I'm running now has been rebranded like 4 different times in the past couple of years because of the way I'm changing it. And that's part of your journey. It's going to completely be altered from time to time. And it's just about allowing your mind to focus on something. But if you can use the power of hypnosis, because if you are in a state of hypnosis, which we always going throughout our day regardless. So anyone that says I can't be hypnotized, it doesn't work with me, they just don't understand what hypnosis actually is. And just before you go to bed and just as you wake up, your brain waves drop down to a state of theta. So do you know the brain waves? So alpha, beta, theta, delta, gamma. When you're in your moving everyday state, you're in beta. So right now we're in beta. We're talking, we're conscious, and we're fully aware. When we go to alpha, that's a relaxed state. So for example, when you come home from a day out, been working, you're just chilling out, maybe watching some TV, that's a relaxed alpha state. Then theta is meditation. This is self-hypnosis. And this is what you reach just before you go to bed. So have either of you two ever, just as you've gone to bed, you've had that brilliant idea? You're like, oh, that's such a good idea. Let me write it down.
I think I'm more creative before I go to bed.
Yeah, because you're in a lower brainwave state. So you're literally, the juices in your brain are just flying around and all the creativity is in your mind. And you've allowed yourself to get into such a low brainwave state that when you're in that brainwave state and you start to disconnect from your body, this is where you can actually, and this is on a meditation, hypnosis sort of level. When you can do that, your mind can't differentiate between the real world and the dream world. So obviously when you have a dream, you wake up and you're like, oh my God, what was going on? Or that was amazing. Let me go back. If you can do that every single day, it just starts to become a program. And when it's familiar, your RAS is active, and you're not looking for ways of why you're being poor, or why you're being unhappy, or why you're being depressed. You're looking at ways of how can I be happier? How can I be wealthier? How can I be healthier? When you're focused on that and you've got that in mind, you're literally, it's just a roadmap. It's just taking you there. And then when you get there, you're going to turn around, you're going to look that the journey was actually part of the happiness. And when you figure out that, especially when you figure that out now, it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Sorry, I just go on. I ran. When someone asks me questions, I'll just go on.
But that is like life. It's almost like life-changing stuff, isn't it? And is it kind of like, because before you go to bed and you get into, was it theta, state of mind, or your brainwaves? Is that your conscious mind is turning off? Because before you go to bed, your conscious mind sort of turns off, and then your subconscious mind comes into play, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know about you, but I find before I go to bed, it's kind of like all the things I've been storing up all day in the back of it's almost like I've been storing them all up in the back of my mind. Then they all start rushing to the front, sort of thing.
Yeah. And so a great analogy with it is your conscious mind is like a guard at a gate. So the reason hypnosis works is it's like, imagine that guard was a dog and you had a ball, you throw it for the dog runs off. You can walk through the gate of the conscious mind into the subconscious mind. And I'll do a hypnotherapy session with someone. And so, for example, I was doing one yesterday. I'm not going to go into it because of all like NDA and like client confidentiality. But we were talking about something specific. And I was like, so what age did you feel this emotion? And straight away, he said the age. And I was like, on a conscious level, if I said to you, when was the first time you felt worried? You'd be like, oh, couldn't even tell you. When you're really relaxed and really focused, you'd be like, I think 5. And I'd be like, okay, what happened when you were 5? You're like, I'm not sure. And I'd be like, okay, just continue going on with it. Keep talking to you. Okay, so what was going on in that situation? And for some reason, something along the lines of like, I was watching a TV show when I was 5. I remember the TV show. I remember my parents arguing. And that's when I first heard that I was never worthy of receiving abundance or of receiving love and things like that. And those programs stick with people. And that's why I always say to people, if you've got young kids, just literally stand them in front of a mirror and every day tell them how amazing they are. Tell them to say it to themselves, because that stores and that will be their programs for the rest of their life.
And is that kind of because your subconscious mind is like still forming in those first 7 to 8 years of your life?
Yeah. So
it's almost like an open bucket. Everything you put in, it's exactly sort of thing.
So from 0 to 2, you're actually in delta. So, you know, when you go into really deep sleep, that's delta. From 1 to 2, you're in delta. So essentially, that's why kids are just there like that. They're essentially asleep with their eyes open. And obviously they can't do anything. They have to have everything done for them. When you get to about just after 2, up to the age of 7, you're in complete theta. So that's why when you give a kid a box, they can pretend they're in a spaceship. That's why they can run around as Spider-Man and pretend they're Spider-Man, even though all they're doing is jumping from a wall to a wall. Like it's not like they're actually swinging from spider webs, but they can imagine that. And that's why theta is so powerful. And if you can get into that state more often than not, then you're going to be able to utilize it. You're going to be able to get more creative. You're going to be able to figure out exactly what you want to do, where you want to go, and things like that. And it just takes a little bit of time of actually putting yourself in there. And obviously that's what I do with what I say to people. I say, look, I can help you get there. I can sort of, rather than allowing you to just walk in and be like, right, I'm going to go and let's say you wanted to play football. And obviously I know, Andy, you work with, you play football and stuff like that. Yeah. Let's say I wanted to, and I'm absolutely awful at football. What if I said to you, I was like, right, I'm going to learn to play football. I'm going to learn it on myself, on my own in my garden. You're going to be like, look, realistically, you're probably not going to get anywhere. You might get the ability to hold a ball by your feet, but you're not actually going to better yourself. You're not going to learn from someone who knows what they're talking about. So when I work with people, I always say, look, let me help you the first few stages and I'll put you into hypnosis. Then all you need to do is remember that state so you can take yourself back to hypnosis whenever you want. And obviously that's why I use meditation, because meditation essentially is just like self-hypnosis. And the more you can use self-hypnosis, the easier it actually allows you to drop into those lower brain waves, which again, back to theta, which then allows you to choose your life essentially.
Wow. Mad.
Crazy. So there you go. If you want just something that's really simple, just as you go to bed and just as you wake up, first thing you do, and this is one of the biggest things that I did, was stop using my phone for the first hour. Now I've probably dropped it to about half an hour. But regardless, I will not touch my phone until I've meditated, until I've listened to some motivational videos or something that's inspirational, educational, something that's just going to pump me up. All of these things here, all these writing and stuff like that, it's all just like affirmations that just empower me. So when I wake up in the morning, I can just read that white one and stuff like that. It's just got all like a whole sort of sentence on it. And straight away, I'm programming my mind for power, like empowered, to be happy, to be confident, to be free, to be abundant, things like that. And again, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Then it becomes habitual. And obviously, we live our life, 95% of it, through the subconscious, so through the habitual mind. If you had to, or no, do you guys both drive?
I do. Yeah.
No, do you not drive?
No.
Okay, I'll use this one. Or actually, the alphabet.
I do drive. No, I do drive.
You drive.
I do drive.
So for example, have you ever had a driving lesson before, Andy?
Yeah.
So when you first, how many of you had? Have you had quite a few?
Yeah, I've had quite. I've passed, but I just don't have a car.
Okay, so you do know how to drive.
Okay, yeah, I know how to drive.
Oh, that's perfect. So when you first got in that car, you're looking at it, you're like, oh God, right, foot on the clutch, into first. Look at the mirrors, right, have I got my seatbelt on? I've got my seatbelt on, right. Now turn out, indicate. It's all so many steps. When you do it, or now that you've passed your test, I can assure you that if you got back in a car, you may have to just remember the little things. But for yourself, Haleem, you can get in your car tomorrow. You don't have to think about putting your seatbelt on, putting your foot on the clutch. It's one process. Right.
Yeah, it's just habitual, isn't it? It's just subconscious. It just happens, you know?
So if every morning you're programming yourself for happiness, confidence, empowerment, whatever it is that you want to be, abundance, freedom, whatever it is, then essentially you're making it one process. So my morning routine, just before all this coronavirus happened, was wake up, meditate, go to the gym, have a cold shower, go in the sauna, come back and do some work. And it was just a routine. It was just something that I did. And I realized, I was like, ever since that stopped, I've been waking up a little bit later. So I'm usually up at about 5, but at the minute I've been waking up at 6, 7 o'clock. So I haven't had to get up. So I've had to force myself to do something, especially in these times of coronavirus. And that's like, right, I'm going to go for a run every other day. I'm going to lift weights, what I've got. So it's not everything, but I'm going to lift some weights the other days after that. So I'm keeping myself in a slight routine. And that's obviously, I know you want to speak a bit about coronavirus, and keep it so you're not getting, or so you're in a powerful routine. So it doesn't have to be go out for a 10-mile run, drink a green kale and spinach smoothie. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if you want to, go for it. But if you want to go,
but it's not sustainable, is it? You want to look for short, sustainable.
Definitely. And it's like, I meditate for probably 3 times a day, 20 minutes, so about an hour to an hour and a half of meditation a day. If I did that when I first started, it just wouldn't have been sustainable because I couldn't do it. Whereas now I would, if 5 years ago, I'd look at myself and I'd be like, oh, he's a weirdo. He sits there chanting. He sits there going, oh, and stuff like that. Whereas now it just improves my meditation practice. So it just makes it easier for me. But you've got to start somewhere. When you first learn the alphabet, you don't start with Z, you start with A until you get to Z. Then you start putting together words, usually the, and, it, is, in, like the little words. Then you can move to bigger words. Then you can move to sentences. Then you can move to paragraphs. And so many people start by, right, I'm going to go to the gym two times a day, 7 days a week, only eat salads, only drink protein shakes. Anyone, even I would look at that and be like, nah, screw that. I was like, I wouldn't like to go I can do it once a day, but I wouldn't like to go twice a day and be like, no, like not give myself any sugar. I want to eat some sugar. I make it sustainable for myself, and everyone's different.
No, that's really, really interesting. And that's something I kind of wanted to touch on with you, is the fact of, like, I feel like as a society, we're very all or nothing. Like we are like, we're like, I'm either going for a 10-mile run or I'm not going for a run. You know, I'm either going to eat no sugar whatsoever, or I'm just going to sit here and binge all day.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the kind of the things I've struggled with, is like staying consistent and not going all or nothing, and doing things over long periods of time. Like I can meditate every day for like maybe a few months, but then I'll start to drop off, and I'll start to, and then even now, for example, like when I was in college, I was in the routine and I was meditating at a certain time, or I was meditating before I go to bed. But now for some reason I've kind of dropped off, and now like I'm meditating every few days. Sometimes I won't meditate for like a week, and I'm like, shit, you know what I mean? And then you start to beat yourself up, and you're like, oh well, fuck it now. And no, it'd be interesting to hear like your perspective on how you obviously first get into the routine, but then how you sustain that long term, like not just short term. You do it for long periods of time, and you create like sustainable habits, you know.
So have you heard of the term progressive extremism?
No.
So it's essentially, this is how, I mean, I do it in two different ways. I do it progressive extremism, which is do it very minuscule over time and start to increase it. So for example, I'm vegan, and I went vegan, I think just over a year ago. And the way I did it was I started cutting out red meat. Then I started cutting out white meat. Then I got food poisoning from chicken. So I was like, right, I'm never going back to that. Then I started cutting out fish. Then I went to vegetarian. Then I went to vegan, and I was like, oh, this is too much. So I went back to vegetarian because I had to check everything. I had to check if there was milk. I had to check all the dairy products and stuff like that. Then after, I think it took me about 6 months. Then after 6 months, I was like, right, I'm going to go vegan again. And then everything that I ate was vegan. I was like, I just put chicken into pasta because I thought that was how you're meant to do it. But now I have pasta with vegetables, and it's no different. I can make, and one of the funniest things I heard was someone say the other day, oh, but I just love chicken too much. I was like, you actually like the seasoning, which is plants. And I was like, that's an interesting, interesting thing to hear. But that's one way of doing it, is doing it really, really slowly. So meditation, when I work with people, I'll say, okay, do you want to learn meditation? Perfect. Why don't you start with 2 minutes a day, no more than 2 minutes, and just start with 2 minutes a day and do that for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you're going to be like, right, I might as well just do 3 minutes. Then you'll be like, okay, now I've done that for a couple of weeks. Right, I might as well do 4 minutes. I might as well do 5 minutes. Rather than saying, right, I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes every day, straight away, you're just like, oh, this is just too much. Like I have maybe missed, honestly, like 10 meditation sessions or 10 meditation days out of the last 2 or 3 years where I haven't meditated at all. But other than that, I will either do once in the morning, once in the morning, once in the evening, once in the day. I'll split it up, and some days I'll do 2, some days I'll do 3, some days I'll do 1. But I can really only imagine I've maybe missed 10 days because I just enjoy it, and it really helps me. So that's one way of doing it, just doing it over step by step over time, and then incrementally making it more, not more difficult, but giving yourself a bit more of a challenge. So again, if you're lifting weights, if you constantly lift 6 kg dumbbells, your arms are going to be,
you get bored. Yeah, you're like,
dumbbell.
Yeah.
If you then move on to 7s, they'll start to increase, then 8s, then 9s, then 10s, and then over time, your biceps will get bigger if you're constantly doing curls. So that's one way of doing it. And then the other way of doing it is going all in. And this was how I actually started with meditation. I set myself a challenge, and I was like, right, how can I meditate? And I was meditating once or twice a week, if that. And I went, right, that's it. And I found this the other day. This was literally the bit of paper that I used when I first started to meditate twice a day. Every morning I'd wake up, I'd tick it off, I'd meditate. Every evening I go to bed, I'd tick it off, I'd meditate. So I did that for 30 days. And after the 30 days, I was quite like, well, this is easy. And again, don't get me wrong, I didn't start with 20 minutes. And like a lot of the time I was laying down, I wasn't sitting up, and now I sit up and I do my meditation slightly differently. But when I started to do it over time, I was just like, this is actually quite easy. So some days I'd do 5 minutes, some days I'd do 10 minutes, some days I'd do 15 minutes. It really depended on how I was feeling. And again, still to this day, I've actually got a thing that's come up, said it's going to end in 10 minutes because I haven't got the full version of Zoom. But okay, yeah, I suppose we'll have to wrap it up. We can always do another call if you want. But yeah, after the 30 days, it became very easy. And there's been a few things that have come out saying it takes roughly about 66 days to create a habit and 90 days to create a lifestyle. And obviously, if you do something for 90 days every day, it will be your lifestyle, I can guarantee you. And a great example for that was I listened to an audiobook every day. Not a full audiobook. I listened to 10, 20, 30 minutes of an audiobook. And it was always on my way back from the gym, because my way back from the gym took me about 15, 20 minutes. I'd speed it up a slight bit so I could get a bit faster. But I set myself a 10-week challenge. I was like, right, for 10 weeks, I want to listen to a book a week, every single week. And it wasn't about understanding all the knowledge from the book. My main thing was, right, I just want to set it as a habit, and I want to just listen to 10 books. I want to listen to a book a week. So I did that. And then after the 10 weeks, I was just like, well, I might as well just continue to do it. And I haven't stopped to this day. Even when I go back on for a run now, I give myself 20 minutes to walk. So I'll run as far as I can. Then I'll run halfway back and then give myself about 20-minute walk back, and I'll listen to an audiobook. So I'm still getting in that habit. And again, if you're listening to people telling you about how they improve their life, how they change their life, it's just sticking in here. And the more you listen to it, that's why I listen to audiobooks over and over again, or I'll read the same book twice, because when you first read something, you may not pick something specific up. When you read it the second time, your mind has physically developed and changed, that you may pick up something that you didn't even know exactly what that word meant first time. And now you know what that word means. So there's the two different ways that I'd recommend it, just going incremental, and try both of them. You might be the type of person that goes full in and is just like, I'm all in or nothing. And sometimes I am that person, but then sometimes I'm like, right, let me just start slowly. I just want to do it slowly. And I do believe you've got to be in the right mindset to go all in. You've got to be in that, right, I'm getting it and no one's going to stop me. And if you've got that, go for it. But if you feel like it's a bit of a struggle, then just start really small.
Yeah, wow. And I think as well, like the fact of, you know, like what you're taking in, it's almost like what you're consuming. Like you're consuming good books and then you get good results, and you're consuming, you know, like mantras and meditations and things, and it's kind of programming your subconscious mind. But I think this concept also works for like negative things, and I think music's quite a good example of how, like, certain lyrics and things that are said in music, it almost, because you're in like a kind of, how would I describe it, like
you're quite focused when like you're listening to music.
Yeah, it focuses you and it puts you into like this zone, and then whatever it kind of puts into you, it can kind of almost brainwash you a little bit. And I've always found that if I listen to crap music, or, you know what I mean, I listen to crap music, I actually feel crap, and it's not an instant thing. But if I spent like you know, a few hours just listening to, you know, some drill, or, you know what I mean, some stuff like that, it puts me into a bad mood. It puts me into on a like a low vibe sort of thing. I don't know if you've ever found that.
I 100% agree. It's weird because my taste in music over the few years has, like, you'd look at the music I used to listen to and it was like drill, grime, like all that. There's some grime that I actually think is quite good, where they're talking about, they will say about how, like, there's some songs, and I know one of AJ Tracy's song ages ago, I can't remember the name of the song, but he literally was talking about the word abundance, prosperity, hard work, and I was like, I like this. And then there's songs that will talk about making money and things like that, and they're literally affirming it to themselves. And And now I literally listen to such random music. Like I listen to piano music, and I was like, why would I ever listen to piano music? Now I just really like it. It's relaxing. And yesterday I was actually listening to I was John Lennon, so the Beatles sort of era, and I was listening to his music. I was like, I actually really like the lyrics. And now when I listen to music, I'm listening to the lyrics and what they're actually about and what they mean. And like you said, it will program you. And that's why when you listen to sad songs, it tends to put you in a sad mood. If you listen to an empowering song, it's going to put you in an empowering mood and things like that. So there's no, and I wouldn't say to someone, right, completely scrap your music. Like if you want to go for it. But if it makes you happy, then listen to it. But if you're listening to it and you're like, it doesn't really make me happy, or it just makes me feel a bit of an idiot. Like I drive around, listen to my music on full blast, thinking I'm that guy. And like, I was just being an idiot, really. Like I'd be that one that you'd stop at the traffic lights, everyone's just like, what dick.
I think when we're like looking at our subconscious mind and we're looking at our habits and things, I think music's a very good place to start, because I think a lot of people that are like really struggling or that are really, you know, going through things that maybe we've all gone through at a certain point, like music was always, at least for me, like such a big part of my life. And whatever music I was listening to, it was like being reflected in how I was acting, if you know what I mean. And I think music's a really good place to start, like literally just whipping out your phone now and just looking through your playlist and just saying, you know, this is what I'm listening to. This is what's going into my mind. Like, is this empowering me? Or is this actually not? Do you know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, do you know the YouTube channel Fearless Soul?
No, I know Fearless Motivation.
Fearless Motivation. Have you heard of Fearless Soul, Andy?
Yeah. I think so.
They've made their own, and I absolutely love their tracks that they've made. And they're literally the song. One of them is called Let It Go, and it's about letting go of your old past and not allowing your old past to stop your who you want to become, not allowing it to drag you down. There's a song called Thank You, and it's talking about gratitude. There's a song called Believe, and it's about believing in yourself. And I've been listening to their music, and again, I will listen to this after my meditation, and I'll be sitting there in such like a ecstatic feeling. I'll be listening to this music just like, it's so true. And I'm just listening to it just like, this is just what you should be feeding your mind with. And the more you can do it, and I'll send you guys over the links to some of their music, and just go through their playlist of the songs. And I highly recommend it just before you go to bed, just as you wake up. So you're starting your day with a song about gratitude. It's actually quite a good song. I quite enjoy it. But also you're gaining something from it as well without realizing. Obviously, if you can do that, then it just makes personal development fun.
Just before we back up, mate, because I know you said that you got like 5 minutes probably now.
3 minutes now.
3 minutes, yeah. So what advice, because we're younger than you, not by too much, but what advice would you give us as we're 18, 19, so we can progress in our craft, in our journey?
One of the biggest things I would say for sure is the people you hang around. That was one of the biggest things for me. And obviously you guys, and like you said, you're not much younger than me, and I started at a similar age. I started at about 18. And it is just go all in, sort of look at your life now and look at where you want to be. Realistically, if you're not where you want to be, just start doing the things that you need to do to get to that place. Because I always look at the two situations is this going to make me happy, or is this going to make me grow? If it's not going to make me happy instantly, for example, for me, I didn't like to drink. I didn't like clubbing. I just did it because, like Haleem said, I think we spoke about this first. The reason I stopped was I was just doing it to cover up how I was feeling. I didn't really enjoy it. I just didn't have anything else to do. When I started to realize and become self-aware and say, okay, I don't actually enjoy it. I'm not going to get anything from it. So why do I do it? And I was like, okay, that doesn't actually make sense. What can I do instead? That's when I started staying more at home. And I started looking at how to read, because I physically couldn't read. I was the worst reader. How to read more. Who could I listen to? What can I do? Then I came across meditation, and Tony Robbins was the first person that I sort of came in contact with. So look at your circle, assess it, and say, are these people going where you want to go? If they're not, then it's not about completely breaking off from them. That's what I did because it was the right thing for me. But it's about assessing, do I want to reduce how much I see them, how much time I spend with them, and look for people who are going to help you out and empower you. And again, that's not going to be something that's going to happen like that. And it's not going to be really easy. I've looked over the last 5 years for a mentor, and I haven't found one. I haven't found the right one that's resonated with me. Last year, I found a mentor who now helps me out in business. I speak to him a lot of the time. really successful in business, and he's helping me out with the little things, not only business, but also I'll ask him questions about what he thinks, or what I think I would want him to say about what I should do in a certain situation, things like that. So assess your circle, look for other people to get around, but first you have to grow to get around those people. So for example, if you wanted to get around someone like Tony Robbins, he's not going to sit on a street corner with someone smoking a joint. Do you know what I mean? So it's about figuring out, what do I need to change in my life to get there? And it is a process, and it's going to take a little bit of time. And that's the sort of time buffer that we have that is powerful.